those issues where we are faced with a challenge that cannot be responded to. Sometimes the time that you notice that the animal is not well, by the time you get to the vet, the amount of time you took before responding put the animal in a situation where the chances of surviving by being treated is very, very low. Okay, so again, to precaution is better than cure. Tonight we're going to continue on the area of leptospirosis. And for those of you who may have missed the last program, we said that leptospirosis is a bacterial disease that is caused, or is being referred to as a waterborne disease, because the organism that causes the disease, the leptospirochete, lives in the wild, in the open, in water, and more so stagnant water. So as much as the rat, the manicou, and well, within our the tropics, we in countries like St. Lucia, we don't have those other wild animals like the raccoons, who can serve as a reservoir for the disease. And for us here, we know for sure we have the rats, we have the manicou or the opossum. So these are some of the animals that can transmit the disease to animals and possibly to us, but again, because of the relationship that we have, that we share with our furry friends, it's easy to be transmitted from them to us. I mentioned dogs, but also too, the bacteria can also affect other animal species like cattle, poultry, pigs as well. So I am staying within stream of the dog, because this is the species that is most likely affected among the animal species within our St. Lucia. We've had what you call surveillance programs done for testing in other animal species, but unfortunately or fortunately, we have not had positive cases manifesting in those species of concern. So again, let's take it down to the dog. Again, this same as we indicated last week with the parvovirus, your first line of defense would be vaccinating your furry friend. The vaccination, again, is not going to, it serves as a preventative treatment to prevent the animal from having the disease. So in the event that they have a challenge of the bacteria, they have an immune system that can fight it. In the absence of the vaccine, meaning that they don't have a defense, so they cannot respond in the event that they are challenged by the bacteria. Now, the transmission can be done very easily by rodents. We know that there are rodents every square foot on the island, right through St. Lucia. We have rats, mice, and they are the ones that can transmit quite easily. We have the opossum as well, or the manicou. Yes, it is a possible means of transmission, but again, the rat is more frequent within our space. They share more of our space than the opossum would, but again too, the possibility exists that either one can transmit. And I keep saying, we need to start changing or making some adjustment to our feeding practices when it comes to how we feed our furry friends. Many persons just feed, turn their backs, or they would feed large amounts of food, so there is feed left throughout the day or throughout the night. This is not a good practice. It's a common one, not a good one. And what it does is that it encourages the rat rodents, or even the opossum as well. Some of them get close enough to home, and that could be an attraction to them. The leftovers or the excess of food left over by the dogs not able to consume. What they do, they would probably feed and then urinate on that food. Next morning you come to feed, there may be some food left, maybe none at all, and some persons, all they would do is just replenish food in there without even washing properly, not knowing that a rat may have visited there last night, or an opossum urinated, and the presence of the bacteria in the urine stays in there. The food is contaminated, or the water is contaminated, and the animal drink or feed, and an easy way of then picking up the disease if the bacteria was present in the feces or saliva of that animal, so to speak. So again, to the practice that we adopt, we need to be mindful of this, that the possibility or how easy it is for the animals to contract that disease. And again, I said earlier, it's referred to as a waterborne disease, where you have stagnant water, or even water that is flowing, but more so stagnant water. So you may have a pool that is water is being accumulated in there. It's raining now, so the level rises and it overflows, and you may be walking into a stream from that water, not knowing that it may be contaminated, or cut on your foot, and right there you can be be infected, the animal as well. You walking through an area with your animal, maybe thirsty, water, you pull a water in there, a body of water, decide to go in and have a drink, and it's quite possible that they can contract the disease from there as well. We're in the rainy season, and I'm bringing it up again to re-emphasize the importance and first to be in our P's and Q's. Many persons don't vaccinate the animals, or they start the vaccine, they may do 1 or 2 vaccines, so only complete the course of vaccine as a puppy, which would require 3 vaccinations at 1 month interval. And thereafter, they stop, forget about it. Or the animal gone past a year, 2 years, and they feel that's it, there is no need to. We're making a very sad mistake. And again, let me refer to the parvo. The parvovirus, or parvovirosis as the disease is called, and for short referred to as parvo, in that the animals that are highly susceptible are young animals. Your first 6-7 months, highly susceptible, and the susceptibility reduces over time. It has been reported animals up to 14, 18 months of age have come down or succumbed to the disease, and manifest in them, they got infected, and some of them even die as well. Okay, so we tend to believe, since the animal was vaccinated as a puppy, and we only concentrate on parvo and not realizing that there are other animal diseases that the vaccine protects against. I'm going to run it again tonight. The vaccine that is normally used here in St. Lucia, it's against the parvovirus, distemper, which is a disease that is considered to be one of the most deadly diseases of dogs. We have had distemper here, and as far as I can recall, the last time that it was, I think it was between 1989, 1990, thereabout. And so we've had distemper manifested here in St. Lucia. No, I think it was in the 80s. So there is what we refer to as a 10-year span of manifestation or re-manifestation. So the expectation was, we were expecting one in 1990. It started up North America, but it didn't get down to us. Thank God it didn't. But again, so that doesn't mean that it can be here at any given time. The distemper, parainfluenza is the third, adenovirus type 2, and leptospirosis. Okay, so we have cases where, like I said, an animal that is infected or was infected with the parvovirus, if it survives it, it is stated that that animal would have developed immunity, or its immune system would have developed a defense against that virus for the rest of its life. But that being said, as much as that is what the expectations are, if it was infected and survived, it would have built immunity against the parvovirus. But again too, we have 4 other diseases that animal was vaccinated for. So if as a result of this, some persons take a backward step and say, look, because of this, my animal don't need vaccine again. Yes, it may not need for the parvovirus, but the other diseases, it still remains susceptible to, because if it doesn't have enough immunity, if it is challenged, it doesn't have that defense to fight. Okay, so again too, let me run through the protocol again. If an animal is vaccinated during its infancy or its puppy stage, the first 3 vaccines are applied within the time limits that is established. We're saying the interval is 3 to 4 weeks. So after this, after your last vaccine, that animal should be scheduled for what we refer to as an annual booster 1 year after that foot vaccine. And most persons don't, and they believe since the animal was vaccinated as a puppy, that's it. And I'm saying again too, this is the danger that we are exposing the animals to. And again, too many times too, out of ignorance, not knowing the dangers in doing so, some people believe that they don't need it, or believe that they are saving additional costs. It's not saving additional costs. By doing so, you are saving additional costs, and don't think that by not doing you are saving, because by not doing, you're exposing the animal to the risk of being infected, and the cost of treatment, and what you put in the animal through during that time of it being infected, and the chances of he or she not surviving the condition. For me, that is too much of a risk to take. So you're far better off just vaccinating the animal and not waiting for chance, hoping that it doesn't happen. I would just want to take you through an experience that I had this week. An animal came in it was an emergency visit because it was hit by a vehicle, bleeding profusely. When the animal came in on the examination, we identify the source of bleeding and death rate. But what was for the owner of tremendous concern was the bleeding. But when that animal got in, that table just flipped. For me, what was more concerning was what was being manifested unknown to the owner. When the animal was cleaned up, taking up all the blood, then we realized the animal skin was all yellow. And for the owner, she saw something looking like this some time ago, but that did not raise an alarm. So the animal came in for a hemorrhaging, but what was underlying manifesting was 100 times more serious than the hemorrhaging. Yeah. The animal, what I just told you, it was manifesting what referred to as jaundice. And for those of you who may not know what jaundice is, it's the yellowing of the skin mucous membrane of the animal as a result of the breakdown of the red blood cells, the body not being able to eliminate or simulate all of it, so it backs up into the system, or you have a blockage in the hepatic system, again to the bile not being able to go through its normal trajectory, so it builds up as well. But so after engaging, we only to find out that that animal has been sick for a while. And again too, I keep saying to you people, when you notice your animal, your furry friend, it's not behaving in the manner that it normally would. It's not eating as it normally would or should. It's not drinking. Its behavioral pattern is not that active. Something is wrong. And when you notice this, I always say to people, the animal tend to hide a lot. They don't want to see them suffering. So they tend to try and hide it away. And when you notice it, it's at the point where maybe they can't anymore, so it's visible, you may see it. So at that time, you may be thinking that it just happened, but it may be manifesting itself for some time now. At that juncture, you pick up and run. That's how I refer to it. You don't wait, because the longer you wait, hoping that it gets better, 95% or more of those times where you decide to wait to get better, it's getting worse. Yeah. So I'm saying so to mean because that animal, if the time when the owner indicated that she noticed some changes, had she responded at that time, would have given that animal, or given us, or your vet, whoever he or she may be, a better chance to survive this animal. So again, I'm just reiterating the importance of responding as soon as you notice those abnormal changes. Don't wait, you run. Yeah. Well, luckily, still in there, hanging in there, we're hoping that we can pull it through. But again, that scenario could have been totally different had the animal come in at an earlier time. And again, maybe a good reason that it got hit, because if not, the urgency that was given because of the hemorrhaging, if it wasn't for this, maybe today would have been history, or I would say statistics. Okay. I have a small short video I want to run just to re-emphasize the disease, and we're going to run for the gain too after the video, just so that patients, we don't take these things for granted. So it's important that we are aware of what's happening around us, and for many persons, the only things that they're concerned about is parvo, because parvo is considered one of the killers of puppies. But again too, it may not only be parvo. Parvo has a timeline of susceptibility that we know that we can deal with, but the others do not have any timeline of susceptibility. So we can, we should not be comforted that if the animal has had parvo and we expect it to have immunity for life, that we forget about the other vaccines. And again, leptospirosis is a zoonotic disease that can be transmitted to you from the animals. So be very aware of this. And I'm saying again too, I don't have the statistics as to how it is manifested, but I know during the rainy season, now again, just considered to be a waterborne disease, we are expecting manifestations as well. Again, too, if we're looking at the global picture of disease manifestations, we are seeing a lot of diseases that are popping up, and again, too, we should pay attention to this. What we refer to as the common cold, we know this thing is now all mixed up with the COVID-19 virus. And now we're hearing that in the US, the first case of okay, let me explain to you. With the bird flu, we've had human beings being affected, but the infection has been from the bird to the human. Yeah, but now, in fact, just this week gone, the US reported the first case of the avian flu, somebody being infected, but it was not as a result of an animal infection. So what that is saying to us now is the virus now has developed the ability to infect more efficiently, in that they don't have to go through an animal to affect us. They have shown that they have the ability to affect us directly, and that is worrying. That is something that we need to be aware of, people. So I'm saying it has not gotten down to our space. It's out there somewhere. What we can deal with, let's be aware of it and deal with it. Okay, so Junior, can you run the video for me, please?
Good morning. Today what I want to talk to you about is the risk of leptospirosis in dogs. So leptospirosis is actually a bacterial disease that's transmitted by a bacterial spirochete called Leptospira. This is a bacteria that's found in soil and water throughout the world. It is also a zoonotic disease, which means it is a disease that can be transmitted from animals to people. The risk factors for dogs getting leptospirosis are the environment that they live in. So, do they have access to streams, standing water? Do they swim a lot? Are you in a rural area where there is more wildlife or farm animals? Is there a high rodent population in the area that you live? Because they are also species that can transmit the bacteria. When a dog comes into contact with urine-infected soil, streams, water, puddles, they can contract leptospirosis. This is a disease that affects the kidneys and frequently the liver. It is a disease that's treatable with antibiotics.
Okay, again, to just a snapshot on the video. The point I really want to get in there is that many times, I'm not sure how many of you listening right now is aware that leptospirosis is one of the diseases that can affect animals, and we can be affected by the animals being affected, we in contact with the animals. Yes. For me, the importance of this thing is growing, and it should be for you as well, because right now we spend more time with our furry friends. There's much more interaction or physical contacts. We have babies in the meads, kids in the meads, children, sorry, and they interfacing with these animals, sometimes unsupervised, and we not knowing that that animal is manifesting certain symptoms or signs, and a child, more so that animal that I spoke of earlier, could have been in contact with a toddler, baby, playing, interacting, and pushing his or her hand directly into his or her mouth, and easy means of transmission, people. So I'm saying that we should be very vigilant when it comes to these things. When we notice something is not right, don't take it for granted and hoping it will take care of itself. Yes. At the rate at which zoonotic diseases are being presented, we never know what is happening within our space. And so hence the reason why I'm making that point, that we should be very vigilant when it comes to the changes in the behavior of our furry friends. Again, to not eating, vomiting, diarrhea, his behavior pattern is spend more time sleeping, not interactive as it used to. You should realize that something is not right. So instead of waiting and hoping that this condition will change, again, my advice is, when you notice this thing, please take the step and respond in a very positive manner. With all what's happening here, we're seeing what is manifesting the world over. There are a lot of deficiencies in whatever spectrum you find yourself in as it relates to resources. When I speak of resources, we speak of financial resource, material resource, and more importantly, human resource. We've been hearing or seeing right among us some of the results of that lack of human resource or lack of training to the human resource. At the end of it all, the human resource seems to be the nucleus of the outcome. A lot of issues that we have to deal with. Many times there are issues that the government of the day have to give a response to, and many times the response is a monetary or financial response in trying to curb or address the issue that is manifesting. And many times the issue that appears to be a financial issue is not one at all. It has to do with our human resource capacity. And tonight I want to introduce you to a very, very important part of our history in the making, and it has to do with a institution, homegrown institution, to help address the issue of our human resource, and more particularly so within our healthcare system. And it's no other, as you can see on the screen, Chenelle Health Sciences University. We've had a number of institutions present themselves here to deal with the issues of addressing the human resource needs as it relates to our healthcare, and more specifically so to doctors. And we are saying there is much more to this. It is something that is deeply, deeply rooted. And I'm happy to make that pronouncement. I'm hoping that you too will be. In that it gives a level of assurity, of continuity, to the children of this country and beyond, to engage, to have the opportunity to be part of this learning institution right here in St. Lucia. It's one with tremendous experience at its core. And when I say at its core, I'm referring to within its staff and faculty, tremendous experience. And it's something that we should be proud of as St. Lucians, and be proud of being part of it, being part of the space that it has presented in helping us to fashion ourselves, help us to deal with that deficiency, and give St. Lucians an opportunity to be qualified at home, to meet the highest level of qualification that can be applied any part of the world, and again to be home, to be able to do that and not having to travel beyond to do so. We always believe that whatever exists out there is better than what exists within our space. This is an opportunity to allow us to defy that. So again, information on the screen. Those of you who may have an interest can call into for further information, but just to inform that Trinidad Health Sciences University has opened the doors for admission, and those of you who may be interested can call in and see how best. It's not too late. Adjustments are being made to accommodate, so you can be part of it and make yourself be part of history, to be one of the first graduates or graduates from this institution. Again, too, just to inform of the opening of Trinidad Health Sciences University. So look it up. You can make a call 572-0162 for further information as to what's in there that interests you. And again, like I said, it's not too late. Admission is open, so you can call in for your query, submit your admissions. There is still time. It's not too late. And those of you who may have probably wandered elsewhere, not being sure whether it was going to or not, just inform me, yes, that it is. So it's not too late. You could resubmit, and again to make your wishes, make your dream a reality. Okay, so with this, we're going to continue on. You can open the line, persons who want to call on the subject matter of tonight. We're dealing with the areas of leptospirosis, and the other emerging zoonotic diseases, its importance and relevance. And again, to what the point I want to drive home is for us to be more vigilant and responsive to when we are faced with those disease manifesting condition. You may not be aware of it, what it is, but the fact that you notice that certain behavioral patterns have changed, don't take it for granted that it's just a phase, or he'll go be alright the next day, let's watch and see. And like I said to you, the animals like to hide away those signs from you because they want to keep it away from you as much as possible. When you notice it, it's when at that point they can't hide it anymore, so that's when you notice it. So it has been manifesting for some time. So people, please take away, just be vigilant. You notice something is wrong. I'm saying so again because too many times when animals come in, they've been manifesting for days, weeks, and at the point where they realize, oh, something is drastic, then it would come in. But many times, like I said to them, the animal has gone over the hill and it's difficult to pull them back. Some you can pull them back, some you can't, just have to let them go. But if you make the intervention before it gets to that point, your chances of pulling them through, your chances of survival is so much greater. Okay, there is, those of you who may have heard of the West Nile disease in the US. The West Nile is a virus, again, that is transmitted by mosquitoes. The virus falls in the same category as the dengue fever, the Zika, and it's a zoonotic disease too, and the mosquito transmits it if they beat an animal that has it, more so birds. The signs and symptoms, again, too, similar to those of that may get as with the dengue: not eating, vomiting, diarrhea, dizziness, muscle ache, and that kind of thing. And it doesn't cause too much mortality in that it don't kill that much, but it can affect you in a manner that is going to affect your productivity, the same as we have for the dengue and the Zika and the chikungunya and the likes. But again, it boils back to the being vigilant, and we know when the season, the life cycle of the mosquito, they love water where they can lay the eggs, and many times we have those containers sitting around harboring those mosquitoes, and we have breeding grounds right in our midst. Persons with indoor flowers or outdoor flowers in pots. The base of that pot, sometimes water accumulates in there, and unknown to you, within quick time. Like I said, the temperature, the environment is just right. It's warm these days, water is there, they're going to lay the eggs in there and hatch very quickly. So we need to be mindful of these things, that we do not create the environment to allow them to thrive, to survive. And if we do so, we are the guilty culprits while they are manifesting. So people, be mindful of this. As much as I can remember, I know we've had the horse is considered to be one of the end hosts of the West Nile virus. And in some surveillance that I was part of, I know we've gotten some antibodies present, in that if the antibodies are present, it means that the whatever is causing the organism was there. So that's a marker indicating that either is there or was there. Yeah. So we need to be, again, mindful people. The rate at which people travel over the world, you can be in Sahara Africa now, and within less than 24 hours you can be here. So the displacement of these etiologic agents, or the agent that is causing the disease, can be displaced from one part of the world to the other in such a quick time. So we need to be mindful of this, and how easy that those diseases that we may think is not a threat to us because of how far it is away from us, that distance can be reduced in very, very quick time. Yeah. So again, so you may be the first one out there to make the observation that your family friend or the animal within your keep is infected, and you, for all you know, you may be the first one to be able to report that disease and action can be taken. As we refer to leptospirosis, I want to bring it to your attention that leptospirosis is what we refer to as a reportable disease, in that it's a disease that has to be reported once it is diagnosed, identified, or suspected. It is one of the diseases that is classified under the reportable diseases, as much as it's not a disease that of livestock that would affect trade, meaning that if a country has the disease, it does not in any way affect them trading with a trading partner by virtue of the disease being present in country. The reporting is important again too. Like I said, it is a zoonotic condition. It's a disease that can be transmitted from human to animal and vice versa. So as a result of this, the health risk human is extremely high, and that's why it is considered to be a reportable disease, in that actions can be taken in time to minimize further spread of the disease. Yeah. So again, too, not because you notice the animal is not looking well, please don't take it on your own to decide, okay, he will get better over time, let's wait. And I'm saying again too, the longer you wait, many a times, the worse it gets. Yeah. You notice the eye color of the animal is changing, the gums, the lips, especially if it is an animal with a light colored skin, you would see it very easily. The color changes to yellow. Yeah. Please pick up and run. Don't wait. And at that time you notice this, again I'm going to ask you to wear gloves, because you don't know what is it that you're dealing with. So precaution is better than cure. And an animal that is manifesting those symptoms, you should not have them interacting with children or a toddler, because you're having those kids at risk as well. So more so if in the environment you have children, you have kids interacting, make it your business to be vigilant in that you pick up those signs very early before it starts manifesting, because you can have the children, the toddlers at risk of contracting that disease as well. Yeah. We want to go back to the avian influenza. We had the pandemic of that many of us had not experienced or didn't understand what is happening when COVID hit us a few years ago. And it's come and gone, but and I remember saying that COVID is here to stay. And as a result of this, we should be expecting more pandemics on its way. And I hope I'm wrong, and I would want to be wrong. The avian influenza, or the bird flu, it is commonly called, has been around for some time. We have two major strains in there. One we call the low pathogenic strain, and the other one we call the high pathogenic strain. The low pathogenic strain is one that hangs around. It causes disease, but it doesn't kill that much. The high pathogenic strain, that one is deadly, it kills. So you have more animals that are infected dying, and the low pathogenic strain, you have more animals that are affected not dying. Okay. What the news that came out, that the first person in the US, they've had a number of persons diagnosed for the disease, which is the avian flu. Now, those persons who were diagnosed were infected by an animal, in that you had a bird, or birds, or ducks, or turkey being infected, and by virtue of the interaction, persons working on the farm or owner of the bird could have been the source of infection, meaning that there was interaction with an infected animal and they got the disease. In this case, what has happened is somebody has been diagnosed, tested, and was positive for the disease without having a history of interacting with an animal. So what is happening now, it has been found out now that somebody or we now can be infected with the virus without being in contact with a sick animal to be infected, and that is worrisome. So I'm just throwing this out there loosely because the symptoms similar to the common cold: coughing, headache, muscle pain, in some cases diarrhea, vomiting, and we may just take it for granted that it's a cold, so we don't need to check it out, and not knowing that it could be more than just a cold. Even now, as we speak, you have persons who, if they were to be tested, will be tested positive for the COVID-19 virus. Again, too, the strain that is now manifesting has a high morbidity rate, in that it affects, but it doesn't kill. The mortality rate is high. It's low. Okay, so high infection rate, and it doesn't kill as the other strains used to. In that, we can have a combination of what is causing the cold. We don't know. And again, too, we have dropped our guards so low that I myself am guilty of it as well. Not wearing masks, and we take it for granted that all is well. But I'm just bringing that point. It might not be also because again, too, we're never sure what is happening out there. Yes, so we take it for granted. It's just a cold, and it'll be okay. Yes, it may be okay, but again, too, we're not sure what is playing out there. It could be something more than just what we consider to be the common cold. And the fact that, like I said again, too, this person was tested, presented symptoms of a cold, and when he or she was tested positive for the avian flu or the chicken influenza, and that person didn't have any contact along the traces that was done, the epidemiological study, with a sick animal. So it's telling us that again, too, that the virus has developed the ability to infect very, very efficiently. So it doesn't have to go through the bird to infect. It can infect us directly. So just again, to alerting us, we need to be on our P's and Q's. Again, we're not sure what is playing out there, and we should not be taking chances when we notice our furry friends not well, they're showing signs of disease, and this we should run with when those signs present themselves. Don't take it for granted. Again, too, I'm saying so because it's happening, and happening too often, where persons just decide, well, no, let's wait, and while we wait, the condition gets worse and worse, and to the point where we end up losing that furry friend. So those heartaches can be avoided. Putting the animals through that period of suffering can be avoided. And again, to a stitching time says 9, as it's been said. So again, I'm advising you, I'm asking those of you with your furry friends, please get them immunized, please get them vaccinated. Sometimes you find that you're too busy, you don't have time from work, but when they get to the point that you may consider to be serious, you get the time to take them in. And at that time, it's going to cost you so much more to pull them out of that sack than if you had dealt with it before they got into that sack. So people, please be vigilant, play your role, get your furry friends immunized, get them vaccinated, follow the protocol. Some of you feel after one vaccine, you stop. Or if you vaccinate now, in the next 2-3 months, you do the second one. That does not work. Yeah, please follow the protocol at 3 to 4 weeks interval, whatever time is established by a veterinarian. Please follow and adhere to. This can make such a difference for you in the life of your furry friend, and again to help further cement that bond that you are building, and to continue it to as long as possible. And not doing so, that period may be interrupted by losing him or her again too, because you didn't have the time, the chance, the opportunity to build that defense to allow them to fight off the exposure of that virus or disease causing organism, because it could be the leptospirus as well. And people, please, so my advice to you, be vigilant, play your role, respond to at the soonest, and get your animals vaccinated. And remember your annual vaccine. 1 year after your food vaccine, you should maintain your annual vaccination. Again too, there are other diseases other than parvo that the exposure continues for life, the susceptibility continues for life. So they can be infected at any time, irrespective of age, if they do not have the antibodies, that defense to allow them to fight off the disease organism, be it bacteria or be it virus. So again, so please vaccinate, be vigilant, and we can all be happy and merry. So I leave this with you, and again too, those of you who may have missed it, the opening of Tinel Health Sciences University. Junior, can you flash me this again, please? So you got inquiry. The school is now open for admission. 572-0162 is the number that you call. info@telemed.org. So information is on the screen, people. Take it down. And if those of you who have an interest, you want to further inquire, do so to satisfy your curiosity. Again, it's Saturday. Thank you for those of you who stayed on the program, did not change your dial. And again, to be vigilant and please follow your protocol. We can change a lot of heartaches and heartbreaks. See you next week, same time, same place. And please visit your DBS Facebook page, DBS St. Lucia TV, or the St. Lucia Veterinary Medical Center Facebook page. Information is there. You can revisit previous programs that has been aired. And again, too, thank you for having us in your space. Bonsoir. Good night.
You're watching DBS,